All right. Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of our bi-monthly workshop. And in today's episode, we're going to be taking a deep dive into Web Wallet, a product we launched. I think that was last week. And in this workshop, we are going to um, basically take a brief look through the Web Wallet docs, and we're going to build a very basic ENS app that integrates web wallet. So if you're just joining the workshop and you are not with your laptop, you could get your laptop and try to code along and probably ask questions as they come up. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen and we are going to get started. Okay, so I think you guys can see my screen, right? Okay. Yep. So yeah, we're going to get started, right? So this the Argent web wallet docs. Probably going to share it in the chat later, right? So one of our goals at Argent basically has always been to has always been about harnessing the power of account abstraction basically to bring crypto adoption to the masses. We know Web3 wallets basically the UX of Web3 wallets as it is today, it sucks a lot. I mean, like one of the basic challenges I have with like introducing my friends to Web3 and the whole world of blockchain and cryptocurrencies is always when we start talking about it. Of course, the whole ecosystem is basically full of complexities, right? But then it gets to the point where you tell them, okay, you can buy Bitcoin and you can store, you can buy Ethereum and you can store, and maybe in the next go around, you might probably become the next millionaire, right? But you now have to start, you probably, okay, for example, with externally owned accounts on Ethereum, let's say Trust Wallet, MetaMask, you tell them, okay, you have to install an app, you have to install an extension, you have to create an account, you make sure you safeguard your seed phrases because if your seed phrase or your private key gets missing or gets into the hands of someone, right, automatically the wallet becomes theirs, right? Everything you probably saved for a long while, it disappears or the popular mantra we have, not your keys, not your coins. So automatically, if you lose your wallet, you lose your wallet. If you lose your private key, right, you lose your wallet. And some of all these challenges we face with the Web3 wallet UX, right? So basically, I feel like for Web3 to get to the point where we see mass adoption, we need to improve the user experience with Web3 dApps, so decentralized applications, to a point that you could actually carry, you could actually introduce your grandma to cryptocurrencies, right? And tell her to get a wallet, and the user experience that she faces with the wallet is not so complicated because of course you don't want to start explaining to her that okay, grandma, you need to save your private keys and store them somewhere secure because if it gets missing you lose access to every single thing that's in your wallet. So start trying to tell her that okay, if you want to interact with a decentralized application, you need to install an extension, you need to install this, you need to install that. These problems are what we're trying to solve at Argent, and account abstraction gives us the platform or mix solving these problems a possibility, right? So in previous workshops, definitely we've talked about account abstraction a lot. We have a lot of blogs written on account abstraction. So if you're new to account abstraction, you could just head over to Argent's website, check out our blogs. You have a lot of awesome blogs on account abstraction. Now, over to web wallet, right? So the whole idea of web wallet is with web wallet, we're trying to like take the whole Web3 wallet user experience to the next level. So we are trying to introduce that familiar user experience that users have for with Web2 applications, right? Bring that into the world of Web3. For example, when you try to like let's say sign up on Facebook, sign up on Instagram, or sign up on any Web2 application, right? There's now that option to like let's say log in with your Google account. So probably if you have a Gmail account, you could just simply click signing with Google, and you have to install anything and all those things, right? So these are some of the problems we are trying to solve with Web Wallet. So Web Wallet is think of it as a combination of Web2 user experience, right? With every single advantage you have with a non-custodial wallet on Web3. So basically, what is Web Wallet? So Web Wallet is a self-custodial wallet which stays in your browser. It takes advantage of account abstraction to bring you the best experience from both Web 2 and Web 3. So with Web Wallet, there are some basic features that people probably love, especially let's say newbies stepping into the space, right? One of those features is you don't have to download anything. So we've always known that with Wallet, you probably need to, like, let's say, install an extension, download an app, or so on and so forth. But Web Wallet, you don't need to download anything. You don't need an extension. You don't need an application to use Web Wallet. You just need to go onto the app you want to use, right, and click probably connect to Web Wallet. And if you don't have an account would automatically be deployed for you and a signer key assigned to you. So these are some of, like, some beautiful advantages of Web Wallet, right? So Web Wallet, also with Web Wallet, you do not have to bother about seed phrases, which is also a thing with Argent accounts also. But Web Wallet takes this to the next level, right? You don't need to be afraid of losing your wallet, losing your assets if you lose your private keys, because just like you have with Argent accounts, right? You also have guardians with Web Wallet, which can help you recover your account in case it's lost, right? And also Web Wallet is also very secure, and also you can use it on multiple devices. You can use it across multiple devices with no friction. But like I said earlier, there's supposed to be a developer workshop, so I just needed to do a brief introduction. But we're mostly going to be writing codes. We're going to be trying to integrate wallets. We're going to try to build our own little StarkNet app and see how Web Wallet works, right? And of course, we're going to use the documentation. Documentation is there to guide you in case you run into any hiccups with installations. We have a well thought out, laid out documentation there to help you. All right. So, for the purpose of this workshop, right, to ensure that things are we don't beat around the bush, right, and to save our time, I already created the boilerplate which you could access here. So, probably head to my GitHub profile and check out the Web Wallet Workshop repository. So it's a simple boilerplate that already contains the UI we are going to be building out. Right, we're not going to start writing the code for the UI from scratch. It also has okay, let's just clone it and see what's contained um within this boilerplate, right? So I'm just going to just open a new window. All right, so I'm just going to run. Okay, okay, let's just do that. So I'm going to run git clone, and I'm going to clone this. Sorry, let me just move into my desktop folder to just make things a little bit organized. So, all right, and I'm just going to run git clone to clone the boilerplate. All right, so we're just going to head into the Web Wallet Workshop repository, and I'm going to open this in VS Code, so you could use whatever ID you are probably using for development, and I'm going to expand this. All right, so I'm just going to head over and I'm trying to increase my font size just in case you have issues with my fonts. Okay, let's see, it seems to work perfectly. Let me see. Yep, so I think this is clear enough. This is clear enough. So if you have any questions at all, just use the chat. I'm going to try to monitor that from StreamYard. So if you have any questions at all, you could just leave a comment here and I would attend to them. All right, let's just go back to our repository. So as you can see here, we have different packages in our package.json, which we would probably need to install before we get started. Of course, we need React, we need Argent slash get-starknet, and some other vital packages, npm package. So for this workshop, we're using npm, but you could use whatever manager you're using, npm, yarn, whatever it is, right? So I'm just going to run npm install. My desktop is a bit not the best currently, so this might take a little bit of time. Well, let's see how it goes. Right, so while we wait for that to install, right, let's just take a quick tour through the boilerplate. So within the boilerplate contract, so the app.js is where we're going to be building our starknet application, our starknet, yeah, our application basically. So sorry about that. So laptop is taking a while. Yep. So all right. So we start with importing our app.css, which is basically the file where that contains all our CSS for basically how our UI will look like, right? And as you can see, we import two methods. We import the connect and the disconnect method from the Argent slash get-starknet package, which we are going to be using to establish a connection to our web wallet, right? And also to disconnect any of our wallets connected. So we need these two packages. Then we import the use states and the use effect hooks from React. So this is not exactly a React tutorial. So I assume you're already at least a bit familiar with React. So you're going to be using the use state to store certain states, certain variables, right? And we're also going to be using the use effect. So from the starknet.js package, right? So we're going to be importing the contract. So we're going to be using that to instantiate to create a new instance of our contract, and we're going to be importing the number package, which is going to provide some useful methods we're going to be using during the course of building this application, right? So as you can see, we already have an ABI here. So this ABI contains it's a simple ABI of the contract we are trying to build. So like I said earlier, it's a simple ENS application. So we already ENS starts for extreme name service. So the whole idea of the contract, right? I think we have a Cairo one version of the contract on if you head to Argent means darknet repo in Argent. Now Argent repository, right? You should see, yeah. So just change for the latest syntax, right? Just change to the new syntax branch, and let's head into the source folder. And in here, sorry, my network is slow. Yeah. So in here, in the main ENS folder, you can see the simple contract we are trying to build the UI for, right? So basically, the two functions we're going to be focusing on is the store name function and the get name function. So the store name function is basically used to like store a new name. So let's say you want to create an ENS, or you want to get a name attached to your address, right? It simply takes in a name, right? And it gets the caller address, the address of the connected account, and finally it writes or it maps the address of that caller to the name which was specified. And we also have like the get name function, which is also what we're going, which would also need to interact with, right, to like get the name of the stored address. So as you can see, you need to supply the address you want to like get the name for, and it will return the name associated with that address. So it's a very simple contract. And in here, if you go into the ABIs folder in the ABI.json, you can see we have like the ABI for that particular contract. So these are the two functions we're going to be looking at: the store name function and the get name function. Then heading back to our app.js, I already deployed the contract beforehand just to ensure that we try to stick to time, right? And this is the contract address of the contract we are trying to like interact with, right? This is the contract address. So having gotten the contract ABI and the contract address, we need one more thing, right? And that's like the account of the provider in order to instantiate a new account, which we will be doing as we go forward. All right. So let's just check if our okay. So our packages are done installing, right? Every single package we need has been installed. So I'm just going to run npm run start so um, I could see how the UI looks. Oh, I have something else running, so I'm just going to close. Um, sorry, there's just a lot of this. Mention. Okay, not this. Hmm, let's end this. So we head back in here, and I'm just going to run that again. npm run starts and run this time around. Sorry, this is taking a bit of time. My laptop is a bit slow today. So we'll wait for that to start, right? So I always forget to restart my system before I close all these apps starting before the workshop because it tends to like slow things down. So but let's just see if this has kicked up. So it's currently starting the development server and all disconnected prematurely. Sorry about that. Let's just run this one more time. Okay. Unfortunately, all right. I have no idea why this is not kicking up. I'm just going to quit all this and exterminate all this. Right. And I'm going to open a new instance of the terminal. Right. I'm going to just move into the web wallet workshop folder. Okay. And let's run that one more time. Okay. This is localhost. Refuse to connect. You stock at starting development server. All right, so we'll wait for that to fix itself. Let's, because of time, let's just move in to start. Let's take it off this particular our app.js before we start filling in the logic for this particular these functions, right? So as you can see, like I said earlier, it's a simple ENS application. So we just have a header which specifies name of the application, which is like a starknet ENS. And we already have a button here which is supposed to like call the connect wallet function. But right now it doesn't do anything as the connect wallet function has not been the logic has not been filled in yet, right? And in here, once we have established a connection, we will probably want to output the address. And in here, we have like an input which takes in the first input basically is going to be used for setting the name of the form, setting a particular name, right? So let's say you want to store a name in your ENS application, you're going to use this input. So as you can see here, we take the value and we set it to this particular variable, the set name variable, right? And why is my laptop so slow? This should okay. So finally, this has gotten started. I really apologize for this. I have no idea why this is so slow today. I'll probably try to shut down everything next time before the workshop. All right, so like I said earlier, this is like the UI we're going to be using, right? So this is the starknet ENS, which is like a simple header that specifies the name of the app. So as you can see, if you click on connect to wallet, nothing happens, right? Because we are still yet to implement the logic for connecting, establishing a connection. And we have two inputs. So in here, where we put in the name we want to store, right? And this button should make a call to like the store name function in our contract, and we have this for getting the name, right? So you pass in the address which you want to get the name for, and the name is retrieved, and it will be shown to you here. All right, so let's just get started with the logic. um VS Code, please, 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 please. All right. Sorry, but this is going to lag a bit, but just try to follow me, right? So we're going to create a connection. We want to make a call to like the connect method we imported from the Argent slash get-starknet. And in here, we want to just simply pass in the web wallet URL. So we're going to pass in the web wallet URL, and which is going to be slash web.argent.xyz. Then we want to check if so something we'll probably want to do is use a try catch. So in case we get an error, right, we'll just try to console log that error to the console, right? It's going to help a lot with debugging. So I'm just going to okay. So let's say if connection, right, and connection, we want to check that connection is connected. Okay, then what we want to do is we want to set some important variables we'll be using. For example, we're going to set the connection, and we are going to set the account. Sorry, this is supposed to be connection. That's the account is a method variable within the connection. So connection.account, right? And finally, we're going to set the address. Let me be sure I'm not disconnected and you guys are still following me. Not this. Okay. Oh, okay. So, okay, let's see here. All right. So I'm going to set the address next. This is going to be set to connection dot selected address. All right. And we are going to implement the catch, right? So in case we get any error, we're just simply going to console log that error. Console log the error, the message. Yep. So the simple logic is like it's as much as you need, right, to establish a connection to web wallet. So as you can see, so let's try this out. But first of all, let's just implement a use effect. So in case the browser gets reloaded, in case the user is using like an extension such as Argent X, the connection is established automatically. So we're going to use the use effects, and we are going to within the use effects, right? So we're going to let's just use let me call this connect to starknet, and let this be an async function. All right, I'm just going to stop my cam because it seems like it's help making me face issues with my network. Okay. All right, so within the connect to starknet function, right, we are going to just do something similar to what we did earlier. So I'm just going to establish a connection once again. And in here also, we're going to pass in the web wallet URL. Uh, okay, and as always, if connection and the connection it's disconnected is set right, we simply want to do the same thing, right? We'll set the connection back once again, and we'll set the account. We'll set this to connection.account, and finally we're going to set the address to connection.selected address. Okay, and finally, we're just going to call this function. We're going to call the connect to starknet function, and in here, we're just going to let the use effect know that we want this to just happen once on reload, right? So this is like enough logic, right, to establish a connection to web wallet. So I'm just going to simply scroll here, and I'm going to activate the connect button. So what we're going to do now is we're going to write it in a simple logic in such a way that if a user gets connected, right, we want to check if a connection has been established, and if a connection has been established, we want to show this connect wallet. But if a connection has not been established yet, then that's when we want to show the connect wallet button. So I'm just simply going to um okay, in here I'm going to say if connection if is not connection, right, that's if connection has not been established, we want to simply show the connect wallet button. So if connection has not been established, we want to show the connect wallet button. But if it has been established, right, we're going to show a disconnect button. So this particular function is going to make a call to the disconnect wallet function, and we are going to call this disconnect wallet. All right. So we have not yet established written the code, right, the logic for disconnect wallet function. But let's try to see if our connection works, right. So I'm simply going to it's going to come here, try to load this up once again. All right, disconnect wallet is not defined. Okay, I think there's an error somewhere. Okay, so let's see this and try to reload once again. Right, so having reloaded now, so we just built out our connection, right? Okay, sorry. So sorry, my laptop is like really hanging so badly. Might probably try to close this. Let me just close this and get started once again. Just close up my whole VS Code. I should have probably done a long time before the workshop started. Okay, so I'm just going to open VS Code once again. All right, let me just stop sharing my screen for a minute and try to fix my VS Code. All right, apologies for that delay actually. I honestly do not know what's wrong with my laptop. Not my fault, okay, so I think it's like a bit faster right now. So we're just going to get started from where we stopped, right? Okay, yep. So we already established a connection. Let me show you guys can see my screen. Can you? Okay. All right. Apologies once again. So we established a connection earlier using this connect wallet function. So I'm just going to um comment this, right. So we established a connection using the connect wallet function. So we started with a try catch statement, and we started with specifying the connection variable, which makes a call to the connect method with it and gets the results which is returned, right? So next up, we go ahead to check that the connection is set. So if the connection variable is set right, set true, and connection dot is connected is also set to true, right? Then we're going to go ahead to set some state variables, right? For example, we're going to set the connection. We are going to set the account. So we're going to use the set account. We're going to set the account. And also we are going to set the address because these are three things we are going to be using. We're probably going to be using repeatedly. So we're just going to set them to the states right now. Then in here, we did it because we did a simple try and catch. So in case we run into errors, right, we're just simply going to console. If we try to make a call to the function and it doesn't return, probably it doesn't return what we need, and there's an error, right? It's going to log that error to the console. Then within the use effects, basically what we wanted to do, right, is we want to ensure that, for example, if you are using, I don't think it's implemented for web wallet yet, but if you're using like an extension such as Argent X extension, right? You want to ensure that the user is able to connect it on reload. You don't want each time the user reloads, right? He has to start establishing a new connection. So we can do that using this use effect. But before we do that, right, let's see how our connect works. We've not yet created our disconnect logic. So in here, what we did here basically is we are trying to like use a simple JavaScript logic, right? So we say if the connection is not set, we want to show the connect wallet button to the user. But if the connection is set, basically, so this is if and this is else, right? So else that's basically if the connection is set, right? We want to show the disconnect button instead. And mind you, we don't have the disconnect wallet logic written yet, so we're going to write that. So now let's go back to our application. Let's just close this. And if the user now clicks on connect wallet, right, as you can see, um, the application loads up, right? As you can see, I have Darlington at argent.xyz here because I've previously used my email to connect to web wallet. Now, if I click on this, right, the iframe pops up, and I'm expected to input my password in order to connect to this particular app. So I'm just going to simply put in my password here. And so web wallet is going to try to authenticate the password in the backend. And if the password is correct, right, I will be connected. So as you can see, the proof that I'm connected now is we have a disconnect wallet button here instead. Now we're going to implement our disconnect wallet logic, and also we are going to try to display the address. So each time a user gets connected, right, we want to show the address of the user somewhere here. So I'm just going to go in here and within, let's clear all these extra spaces. So within here, um, I'm just going to clear this. We want to show if the user is connected, right? We want to show the address of that user. Remember, we set it to state earlier. As you can see here, we use the set address to set this particular address. So if each time user gets connected to web wallet, right, we want to show the address of the user. So I'm going to come here and okay, let me reload this. Now let's try to connect once again. So as you can see, we now have our address in here. So if you would have noticed, right, when I tried to connect the second time, right, I wasn't asked to like input my password. So there's a little area of session keys implemented in web wallets that ensures that a user who has probably been authenticated previously can restore connection within 5 minutes, right? But if 5 minutes elapses, right, you probably need to input your password once again to like connect to that particular decentralized application. So next up, let's try to like establish our wallet, our logic for disconnect wallet function. So I'm just going to come in here. I'm going to come in here, right, and let's just clear this for the meantime. And in here, well, I'm just going to simply make a call to like the disconnect method which we imported earlier. So the disconnect method automatically disconnects and probably unsets every connection variable we set earlier. So we are also going to set the connection variable to undefined. And we would also want to set the account to be undefined, so extra measures. And finally, we are going to set the address. Let's just set the address to space, right? And just to make this UX better, where we have the address, I'm just going to come here and put a text here that says address. And yeah. So now we have this, right? If we go back to our application, we have the address. Now, if we click on the disconnect wallet button, as you can see, it disconnects your connection, which you established earlier. And then if you want to connect again, you probably have to reload. You would have to make a call to like the web wallet iframe. Get to click on this, and as you can see, we have connected our accounts back to web wallet. All right. So something else we could do, right, just to make the UI better, we can say once the user is connected, right, you want to like show a button which can user can use to visit the user's dashboard. Because remember, there are no extensions, there are no apps. So for the user to in order to for the user to be able to access stuff like the user's balance, to be able to maybe carry out simple transfers, we have this simple dashboard which is built for like every single web wallet user. So we are going to link to that. We are going to try to, sorry, I'm just going to create a simple div here. Let's just do, all right. And in here, I'm just going to paste these two buttons because I want them to be side by side. And we have disconnect wallet. So in here, we want to do something else. Let me just make the UX better. Yeah. So in here, we are going to show the dashboard. So let's just take the unclick away, right? And we're just going to simply use an anchor tag. So let's just use an anchor tag. And we are going to link to the user's dashboard, which is at web.argent.xyz. All right. So I'm going to get this closing anchor tag, right? And okay, I'm going to copy it, okay, and I'm going to just close it here instead. So let's go back to our UI, and as you can see, forgive the UI difference, right? But we have disconnect wallets button and we have the dashboard button. So just to make the UX a little bit better, I'm going to go into the CSS and for the connect button, I'm going to just add a margin to the right. Let's just make this like 10 pixel. All right. Yep, so just to make the UX a little bit better. So as you can see, we have the disconnect wallet for button, which can user can use to like disconnect his web wallet. And from here, we can link to this basically links to like the web wallet dashboard. So as you can see here, when I click on that, I can visit the web wallet dashboard for this particular account, where you can see the number of assets that you have in your web wallet. Because like just iterating what I said earlier, web wallet basically functions like a normal Argent account, basically shares the same source code with the normal Argent account. So you have access to a signer key, you have access to a guardian key, and every single thing like a normal Argent account can do. So you can also hold different assets, ERC20s, ERC721s, whatever it is you want to hold, you would find all your assets within here. And let's say you want to add funds to your web wallet, right? You can simply click on add funds and you have like two methods to add funds, either through card or back transfer, and there are a whole lot of other options too. All right, so just going to go back to our DApp, right? And let's just focus on implementing the logic for storing the name and getting the name of this particular account. So I'm just going to head back to my app.js file. Okay. And within the set name function, basically, what do we want to do? So, like I said earlier, we already have our contract API imported. We already have our contract address imported. And probably would the first thing we would want to do, right, is create a new instance of our contract. And to do that, basically, we're going to come in here and we're going to see constant. Let's call this contract, right? And we're going to see use the new keyword and we're going to pass in the contract ABI into this instance. We're going to pass in the contract address we are trying to interact with. And finally, we're going to pass in the account we're going to be using to like carry out interactions. All right, so now we can now basically call the store name function. So if you check our ABI, right, go back into the ABI's ABI.json, you can see we have a store name function here, and it takes a single input, which is it takes a single input, which is the name, right? So I'm simply going to go back here, and what I want to do now is we are going to make a call to the store name function. So let's just use the await keyword. And something I always prefer to do, right, because it makes debugging easier, is let's just use a try catch statement. All right, and I'm going to cut this out. And in here, we're just simply going to like catch whatever error that's um is shown by application. Now we're going to log into the console. Okay, in here we want to um instantiate a new contract. After instantiating a new contract, right? So we're going to make a call to this contract, scoring like the store name function. All right. So but this store name function basically should take in name, which is if failed. Well, right now, what we'll try to pass in, right? If we try to pass in the name which is gotten directly from our input, right? So we'll try to pass in this name directly. This name is like of type string, as you can see here, is a string type. So we need to convert it to failed. And to do that, I already have like some useful methods which you can find in the utils.js for these conversions, right? So as you can see, there's a function to convert from failed to string, and there's a function to convert from string to failed. So for what we want to do, right, we want to convert from string to failed. So we're going to come back here, and we are going to, before we're going to see, let's call this constant string to failed, right? And I'm going to simply, okay, that's already a name. So let's just call this name in failed instead. The name in failed, right? And I'm simply going to call the string to failed function, and I'm going to pass in the name the name which is gotten from the name which is gotten from our storage variable, as you can see above here, right? So in the store name function, I'm basically going to pass in that name in fields, and I guess okay. So something we could do maybe is just for UX purposes, right? Just alert the user. Probably your ENS has been created successfully, right? Okay, and I guess that's for the set name function logic. Now for the get name function logic, right, what would we want to do? So for the get name function, we are probably going to, if you check the ABI, right, as the ABI.json, it accepts a single input, which is an address of type fields, right? So I'm simply going to head back in here. This is really okay. Okay. So in here, right, and I'm going to once again use the try catch statement, and probably we want to catch the error, and I'm going to load that to the console. Okay. In here, as always, we would is this the same naming fields? Oh, sorry, this is supposed to be naming fields. Yep. right? So in here, the first thing we want to do as always is instantiate, create a new instance of our contract. We're going to pass in the contract ABI. We're going to pass in the contract address, and we want to pass in the account. Okay, and we would probably want to. Next thing we will probably do is right get the name. So let's call this name. We already have a variable called name. So let's just yeah, we want to retrieve the name rights and we're going to pass in the address. So I'll just use the name it felt. I can't think of any better name at the moment. Yep. And we are going to make a call into a which contract with get name. Which contract with get name, right? And this is supposed to like taking the address and the address we already have that set somewhere, right? Yeah, we already have that set somewhere. So in here we're just going to pass in the address, and of course the name is going to be in felt, but we'll probably want to return string. So we are going to need to convert this name which is in felt, right, to string. So I'm going to just call this name in string. Yeah, I stuck with names, so let's just call this name in string. And we are going to for this we're going to um let's check our utils folder, right? We have a function which can yeah felt to string. So this is the function we'll probably want to use, the felt to string function, the felt to string function. But now this is a bit tricky, right? Because okay, we are going to use the TBN, and we're going to pass in this felt rather. Okay. Yep. And all right. So next up, we'll probably want to store it in the retrieve name so that oh sorry, we are not supposed to use this address here. What we're supposed to use instead is the input address. The address gotten from the input rather. Using the other address would just probably get the name for just this particular connected account. So but once we be able to like get the name for any account at all, the corresponding name for any account. So in here, we are probably going to call, I think there's a function set retrieve name, and we're going to set it to like the name is string. Okay, and I think we are good to go. So when we come back here, right, we could see that on click we already have this already calls the set name function, and on click of this, right, we already call the get name function here. So let's save this and try to play around with it in the browser. Okay, so we're just going to try to connect once again. This is probably an issue from my internet. This load this page. Okay, and try to connect wallet once again. All right. Okay, so now we have our wallet address connected, right? And so we're going to try storing a name right now. So let's say I want to store Darlington for my particular address, and I'm going to click on the store name function. So as you can see, it makes a call to like the web wallet module. So okay, transaction failure predicted. Let's see why that is. So it says requested contract is not deployed. Oh right. This is like the address is this is deployed on testnet, not on mainnet. And it leads me to one thing I forgot to mention, right? So currently, web wallet is supported just on mainnet only because basically our target audience for web wallet are probably newbies in the space or people who just want like a simple wallet to basically use in interacting with dApps. So currently we do not support endpoints for like for testnet 1 and testnet 2. We do support it, but it's not basically um open to everybody. It's not open to the public. Basically, it's just for dApps who are looking to probably carry out some tests locally before launching on mainnet. So that's the reason. But we're actually running out of time. If not, to probably have tried deploying the contract once again um to mainnet, right, and try to interact with it. But to check out the interaction, if we want to do that, we could just simply head to the on-frame marketplace, and that's to assume I want to, let's say I want to purchase an NFT. I could just let's buy an Explorer NFT. Let me try to buy this. So I want to connect my wallet first. So I'm just going to log in with web wallet. Yep. So I'm going to log in with web wallet. All right. And I'm going to try to make an offer. Um, I don't exactly have a lot of funds, so I'm just going to make that offer, right? And as you can see, after the transaction is simulated, right, you have the confirm button to like confirm your transaction. So I'm simply going to click on this, right, to confirm my transaction, and I'm going to sign this, right? Okay, I don't think I don't have a lot of gas fees because if you check my web wallet dashboard, okay, I have a fair enough amount of it, just about 0.0037. So, well, basically we have web wallets currently supported on multiple dApps. I think we have support on Starknet ID, on Avenue. Um, Recently, StackScan also integrated web wallets, and JetSwap would also be integrating web wallets soon. So you could head out to any of these dApps to probably test out web wallets, right? Then heading back to the docs, right, there are some other things we'll probably want developers to note about web wallets. The first is the fact that you can customize your web wallet to attain any look that you need it to attain, right? So, for example, the default is the full connect option where you see your web wallet options connects your web wallet, Argent X and Bravos. But I assume that didn't really come out because I don't have any of those extensions on this profile. So, but let's try the profile where I have those on this. This is a little bit. So as you can see on this profile, you have options to either connect your wallet with Argent X, your Argent X extension, or your Bravos extension, and also the option to like just connect to use your web wallet accounts rather. So, but we can also customize in such a way that you can have just the you can have this look, right. You can customize your web wallet to look like this. We actually ran out of time already. And finally, if you just want your users to probably be able to sign in with web wallet alone using an email, right, you could also do that by including agents and specifying modal wallet appearance to like the email only. And of course, if you do not want your users signing in with web wallet, you want to remove web wallet, which would be very useful for like dApps that have like testnet versions, right? So just like I said earlier, web wallet is not supported on testnet. So you probably, if you have a testnet version, you probably want to exclude web wallet from that, unless the user is going to run into errors trying to use web wallet on testnet. So you could simply do that by supplying the exclude parameter and telling it to exclude Argent web wallet. Then we also have some simple UX guidelines which we expect that you'd like fully or try to keep to if while integrating web wallets just to ensure the UX is better, right? We have, for example, I already showed us this one, right, which is easy access to web wallet dashboard. So let's just go back to the previous profile. So as you can see from here, we have like a button from which the user can access his dashboard, probably check his balance or to fund his account. You want to provide like a one-click means for users to be able to do that. Where's the docs, right? So also on our wallet UX too, we also want to we would also expect like you just make the user experience better, right? You could add something like a transaction tracker. I think currently this is integrated on Avenue, right? So because web wallet is not like one click accessible, for example, if you have like an Argent extension or a mobile app, right, you could simply check the app or check the extension for like to track the transaction. For example, with Argent we show like a blue dot on your extension icon in case just to show that your transaction is pending, right? So you could probably implement something similar, a transaction tracker to help like users track your transactions. Then we also have the custom transaction history. So the custom transaction history is basically, I think you could find something similar on Brick, right? So the custom transaction history can like be used to check previous transactions. So like I said earlier, if you were like on an extension on app, you would probably see the list of your previous transactions. But on since web wallets doesn't provide that, right? You could also provide a means for users to be able to track their previous transaction history. These are just some simple UX guidelines you could probably follow to make your general user experience better. And just because of time, initially I planned that we would probably do some stuff with starknet react, right? Show you how to like also integrate web wallets in case you're using like starknet react. We support a connector which you could probably use, which you could use, right? For example, if your DApp is supports or is built with starknet react, you could use the Argent slash starknet react web wallet connector. There's a guide here which you could follow to in case you're interested in doing that, but we could definitely do that in another workshop. So I don't know if there are any questions. Let me just try to like go through questions and okay, can we get access to the repo repository? Yeah, I would. Where's that again? I'll probably paste this in the chat and we could use that. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen and would paste the link to like the I'll paste the link to this repository, which you could probably access in case you're interested in rebuilding what we just did in the workshop, right? And I sincerely apologize for the lag with my system, right? Probably try to like fix that for the next workshop, try to ensure I close everything. But I guess because of time, right, would be wrapping it up here. The next workshop will probably play around with starknet react and also show you how you could integrate web wallets in starknet react. Um, and like I said earlier, probably like I mentioned in the beginning, right? Our bi-monthly workshop happens 2 times every month. So we hold it 2 times every month. So the next one is going to be coming up 2 weeks after now. And you'll probably want to stick around for that. So thank you so much if you've been around till now. And do have an awesome day ahead.